see. I'm here though.
No problem. I can see it. All right, cool. Everybody, we've got a intimate group, which is awesome because I feel like it's a little bit more personal. So feel free to chime in if you have any questions. I do have a little bit of a presentation, so I won't be following the chat or monitoring it. So if anybody has any question, feel free to interrupt. You're not interrupting, but I do want you to ask the question. Otherwise, I'm going to go through the presentation. Again, it's casual, it's approachable, it has some tools and resources and just like action items that we do and maybe you can do. I always lead with what works for us, doesn't work for anybody, but I hope that you can take at least one or two things away from our social media practices that you can apply and make your own. So at the end, I'll obviously open it up for Q&A and we can have a little dialogue. But with that said, I will get started and we'll share my screen, and I hope everybody's doing well. All right, so I'm assuming that everybody can see my screen, and if not, let me know. And for those of you who may or may not be already familiar with Canva, Canva is a super tool that we use that is free or very inexpensive depending on the membership that you have. But Canva has been so helpful for us in creating content and infographics and collateral that we need for sales and marketing. So from social media to physical, like snail mail, we have, and like client invitations for client appreciation parties, for example, we use Canva. So just without diving into everything, quick note about Canva, this is what I made the presentation on, but it's actually also something that we use every single day for content creation. So definitely note that, because I don't think that I actually noted it anywhere in the presentation. So She Moves Social Media, real quick, She Moves Philly, that's our team. I am one of two co-founders. For those of you who don't already know, I think everybody knows this here. But my business partner is Britt, that is who is on the right side of me. She is my right-hand woman. She and I joined forces last year. I was a solo agent, she was on another team. We joined forces and sold 30 million in volume last year. We're a team of 3. We have 1 executive assistant and 1 transaction coordinator. We were #1 for units in volume last year. All of our business is organic. It's all referral based, no paid advertising. We just leverage our resources, our sphere, and naturally social media. I'd say about 30% of our business comes from social media, if not more. So today's agenda, I want to run through just the basic who, what, where, when, and why, right? But I did flip it around and I led with why, and you'll see why. But I'd rather lead with why in anything that I do. For those of you who take my Navigating Your First Year in Real Estate class, I always lead with why too, and you'll see that theme throughout any of my courses. Your why is really important. So I want everybody to think about, what is your why? You know, why do you show up to work every day? Why are you in business? Why are you on social media? Why are you sharing what you're sharing on social media? Why should someone engage with you? These are all very important questions to ask yourself, because it goes back to one thing, and that's purpose. And purpose is infectious, it's inspiring, and it ultimately gives you, maybe call it charisma, or gives you a brand, or gives you a reason for somebody to talk to you. When you understand your why, you understand why you're showing up every day. And I think when you understand that and can lead with it on your social media platforms, in your business, it helps you show up better every day, but ultimately helps you create really awesome content, and ultimately grow your sphere and your following socially. So for us, our why, you know, we sell hospitality, not just homes, and our content marketing and social strategies help us communicate our overall customer experience. So for us, I don't know how many of you follow us on social media. A little plug, we're She Moves Philly, as you know. But we storytell. We share the good, the bad, the ugly, but ultimately we share the experience that our clients experience. But also we share why we're in business, which goes back to the big why. When you know how to effectively communicate your why and you do that consistently, more importantly, you really have a chance of growing your sphere, which, I mean, your following, which is not the most important thing, and I'll get that actually in my next slide. You know, follower count isn't everything, but integrity is everything. And people can sniff that out on social media by your actions, your posts, your language, and more importantly, your consistency. So definitely lead with your why. Our follower count, I always like to share it. We have about 9,500 followers on Instagram, but for us, that number doesn't actually matter. My favorite saying is quality over quantity. We built our social media following organically, but I think it is truly because we led with our why. We share our agents, we share our clients, again, the good, the bad, the ugly. We make it an approachable experience, home buying and selling, but we also sprinkle in our daily lifestyle. So you'll see my dog in a lot of our stories. You know, She Moves Philly is our umbrella brand. And then under that, we have Brittany Moves Philly, Britt Moves Philly, Monica Moves Philly. So collectively, we're all sharing our daily lifestyles and who we are as agents and contributing to the She Moves Philly umbrella. And if you guys follow us, I can illustrate that a little bit more. Sometimes it's harder to explain, but ultimately we share who we are, what we're doing, and why we're in business almost every single day. And that in turn has led us to build such a robust following because we know who we are and why we're showing up every day. And in turn, we've been attracting like-minded people. Yep, so I pretty much narrowed all that down. Oh, sorry, I forgot that actually plays. So before I jump onto that screen, just briefly, I'm gonna talk about niche marketing. And Monica is a great example of niche marketing. She is a queer agent. She is in the LGBTQIA community. She is a runner. What else? She loves animals. She's vegan. She knows her sphere and who she ultimately wants to engage with. I want to share a video briefly because it was one of my favorite videos. She leads with, again, charisma, a sense of humor, but she breaks down home buying facts and makes it just really approachable, which I think is awesome. But also it shows who Monica is as a human being. So I'll share that briefly and then I'll jump to the next slide because it'll probably keep a reel going. But
Hey, Brittany, we can't hear her. It has no the video has no volume.
oh no, that is so weird. I could hear it on my end. Well,
sometimes
I
streaming
guess.
doesn't work over streaming.
What was that?
Streaming video doesn't work over like streaming like media. It's weird, but yeah, it's just an IT thing. You should be good.
Oh, dang.
Maybe you have to share the video as well.
Yeah, so what I could do is when we're done, I'll drop the link. I could actually just drop Monica's post from Instagram directly in the chat when we're done. Or I could just email it to you guys if you want to see it. But it's definitely a good video to watch, so I'll definitely do it. But thank you for letting me know. I didn't know that. I could hear it on my end. I can also, if you guys want, I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with you. If that is something that you wish to just like review too, just let me know. Happy to share it.
Thank you.
Not a problem. So that goes back to our who. Definitely make it a point to understand who you're trying to engage with, you know, who is your niche, who are you and how are you showing up every day? It goes back to your why and it definitely influences your who. So make it a point to narrow down just who you want to engage with every day and what kind of following do you want to build and what kind of community do you want to engage in, because you can't be a one size fits all as much as we would all like to be that, especially when it comes to social media. So Just take note of that and work on your who. Which brings us to our what. You know, what are you sharing every day? Definitely pick a platform or two. Again, quality over quantity, use it or lose it. For us, we use Instagram and we use Facebook mostly for our business. Now, I use LinkedIn personally, like me as just myself, not as She Moves Philly. But you definitely want to pick a platform or two. There's more out there. There's Pinterest. People are using TikTok. There's Twitter. We tweet on occasion, but we don't interact and engage all that often. Most importantly, because we just want to do two things and do them really well, because we don't want to experience burnout. The same way that you can experience burnout in your business by spreading yourself really thin and trying to go on all these appointments in one day in different counties and all that stuff. Same thing goes for social media. Definitely narrow down. I would recommend 2, maybe 3, or maybe you're just getting started and you only want to use 1. There's no right or wrong way to do this, and I can't stress that enough. So just pick 1, get familiar with it, and if you want to introduce 2 or 3, I'm all for it, and I think you'll be able to determine how much you can manage. There's also, like, I'm not a huge fan of this, so take it with a grain of salt, but if you do need help with social media management and guidance, there are third-party companies that you can hire to help you create all of these game plans, but also just social media management, and help you identify what platform is best for you based on your clientele and your who. And then next, be strategic, have purposeful messaging. Don't just throw a picture up on Instagram, for example, without a caption. Have intention. We love that word today. And be educational. People are going to want to follow you because you're sharing beautiful houses, because all the restaurants in Fishtown, maybe that's where you live. That's what we share every day. We share houses, we share restaurants, we share Philly happenings, we share our clients, the success stories, the good, the bad, the ugly. Again, we don't hold back. We share agent spotlights. We pretty much share it all. And we share, again, our why and the experience that somebody's going to get when they're working with us, because how we show up on social media is how we show up in our everyday physical life. And that's what we try to lead with. So again, just be intentional, be purposeful, and be authentic, which goes back to just being human, be yourself. People today, especially on social media, can sniff out when somebody's being, almost borderline robotic. Be yourself. And that's the coolest part about this is social media is a way to express yourself, express your brand, express your customer experience and your business. So it's a great tool. It's really inexpensive. Just when you start working on your who or your why, your who and your what, things really start to come together. For us, creating community is really important. I pretty much summarized that in the previous slide, but creating community is pretty much one of our intentions on social media. So this picture with the Grinch, I don't know if you guys can see my arrow, but the Grinch and my clients, Anita and VJ, who are actually under agreement right now. We just went under agreement last week with a really awesome home, but they've been friends of mine. I met them through social media, through the food community. We're both lovers of food and just the Philly restaurant scene. But they came to our client appreciation party at Craft Hall, and we had a good time. And, not all of our clients celebrate Christmas. So we had an Oktoberfest, we brought in a Grinch, and we ended up taking client photos, which we ended up mailing them in December as our holiday cards. So instead of sending pictures of us, we sent them pictures of them and just had a fun time. But we created content at our party, and that was just in turn by way of our community. We had our She Moves Philly launch party. This is where you see a lot of the after party, I guess, was happening here. So you'll see a lot of faces. We have fun at our holiday parties with KW. Anybody who knows us and who's in business with us knows that we wholeheartedly drink the Kool-Aid here at KW, and we share it loud and proud. And then lastly, we share, again, community. We share our client experiences, which I've mentioned previously, but home buying and home selling is a really big, hairy, and scary process. And we do want to make it a point to share our clients and their big wins, especially when they had their doubts. The success stories are definitely the things that we love to share most. And again, it goes back to our goal of community creation. So talking about when, a lot of people's biggest concern is, I don't have time, which is valid. Real estate is a really time-consuming business, especially when you have a few balls up in the air and you're maybe wearing multiple hats. So let's talk about when. When are you going to share your content? You can be like me, which I don't recommend because I am a crazy lady, but you can do things, on your own time and dime. You'll get into a groove, you'll get into a rhythm, and you'll get into a habit, most importantly. I think it's like it takes 21 days to build a habit. But I've been using social media since inception. I think back in 2012 was first when Instagram came out, or I started using it. So I've been a user of it for a long time. So I've gotten into a habit of blogging and building and engaging in social media following and all that fun stuff prior to She Moved Philly. Fast forward to today, however, we post at 2 times, either 8 o'clock a.m. or we post between 5 and 8 p.m. We usually avoid posting on the weekends unless it's an Instagram story, which I can elaborate on a little bit more. But definitely get into a rhythm, get into a habit of social media posting, because again, use it or lose it. When people start following you, they sign up and subscribe and hit the follow button because they want to see what you're posting regularly, what kind of content you have, what kind of homes you're sharing, what kind of food you're sharing, what kind of resources you're offering. So come up with a plan for yourself. One thing you can use is Command. That is a plug for us, of course, but it is something that we also use. So use Command. I know that it could be a little bit of a headache right now, but it is effective and it's getting efficient. And we have been implementing it, especially with our content scheduling, but also just our physical mailers, talking about snail mail and things that are not technology related, veering off from our original social media topic. Command is awesome. It definitely helps you with content creation. There's already templates and tools in there for you to use. Scheduling and data analysis, which is awesome. We use, our clientele is mostly busy between, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and then in the evenings. Great. Now we know that because that's when our posts perform best. No, we're not, militant when it comes to being on top of our data analysis and all that stuff. Again, everything we do is pretty organic. We're not particularly worried about the response time, but it is a factor when it comes to building your audience and your clientele. So you can look at data analysis through Command. Planoly is another one. It's a post scheduling app. If you want to do some cool things with your grid, right? Going back to Instagram. Instagram is definitely our most favored social media platform if you haven't figured that out yet. But you can use Planoly for post scheduling, grid defining, and brand defining. So when you're on, again, Instagram, that is mostly a visual place, and I'll break down kind of each platform in a different slide. But Instagram is more of a visual platform. So you are sharing mostly photos and stories, and it's a visual storyboard, more or less. You definitely want to have a brand, you want to have colors, you want to have tone and all that stuff. I'll call that the more advanced social media class, and we can get into that if you guys wish. But if you wanted to have a little bit more of an Instagram identity aside from your current brand, maybe off social media, you absolutely can, and Planoly can help you do that. I did mention Canva. Canva is what I'm on right now presenting. They are phenomenal for content creation and animation. So check that out. Again, it's free. It's very inexpensive. You can upgrade to a pro plan for I think $14 a year or something. But it's awesome, and it helps you with flyers, maybe external marketing, but also marketing for social media. And then lastly, Buffer. Buffer is very similar to Planoly, except Buffer is just more exclusively for social media management and content scheduling instead of creating. But check all of these out. I've used them at least once. They are great, and I know that they have improved since I last used them. Oh, and I wanted to mention events as well. When you have client appreciation events, hire a photographer. This way you don't have to have your phone out the entire time, but more importantly, so you can create some content, right? Content is king. Content is what you're going to be posting on any platform that you use. So that Grinch photo that you saw before, that was a professional photographer that we ended up hiring for our event, and these photos came out awesome. Any event that we ever have, we do have a photographer because we like to, again, just share the photos, not just that week when we have to have the event, but we sprinkle them throughout the year and thereafter. You, however, don't have to be the person who makes up all of your content. You're more than welcome to crowdsource as well. You don't have to curate all of your posts. One of our favorite, I guess, identities on social media we love to follow is called letterfolk. Letterboards, right? They're cheesy, they're quirky, they're fun, but I love reposting some of their letterboards, and our followers love seeing them. So that's something that I just screenshot, I repost, and I end up crediting the original creator and ultimately the content owner. So that's just another way to engage. But ultimately crowdsourcing from either your clients, maybe real estate photographers, they love when their work is shared. Just make sure that you definitely credit whomever you pulled from, because that becomes a very slippery slope if you don't. All right, and where? Let's get to where. So, I shared a lot of things, the why, the who, the what, the when, the where. Now, where do we do all of these things? So that's entirely up to you. I mentioned that Facebook is one of the 2 platforms that we use. We also use Instagram. Instagram is probably more heavily used daily. I always joke and say that you could probably know what our team is doing at every moment of every day, what food we're eating, where we're walking our dogs, stuff like that, because we are very transparent on Instagram. And I think that's what led us to, again, the organic growth and also the client growth that we've had just from social media alone. But you can use Twitter. Twitter is definitely a platform to voice all of your thoughts. It's not a visual platform. You can follow the news, you can retweet things. I like to say that Twitter is more for educational purposes. Instagram can be too, but it's definitely more visual and photo-based. Facebook is a good mix of the 2. Facebook is interesting. Facebook is a little hard to navigate sometimes. Right now, it's pretty awesome to use right now if you want it to do some ad work and non-organic work and you want it to boost some posts. Maybe not now because of the unrest that is before us and the rise of things going on, but during COVID, a lot of realtors were actually, while others were pulling back because they were scaling back on marketing, other realtors were leaning in, and I was just eating my popcorn, trying to follow every one of these realtors to see what they were doing, the successes and failures that they were having. But Facebook is a great tool. You can have a professional page, you can have a personal page. Again, whatever way you choose to do it, there's no right or wrong way, just use it or lose it. A question that I always get is, what's better, a Facebook business page or a Facebook personal page? I think that it's important to have at least one of each, honestly. If you're a solo realtor, it doesn't super matter because I think that you will have more reach on your personal page. But when you do have a team and you have a lot of content to share, I think from a credibility standpoint, a lot of people are going to Facebook nowadays. More importantly, that's where we have a lot of our reviews from our clients. Instead of like Google or Yelp or Zillow, we have them all on Facebook because we want to take things away from Zillow. But Facebook has been really awesome for us. So definitely check it out, do your research and see what works best for you. And lastly, we have LinkedIn. That's more of a professional thing. So I share a lot of the ongoing resources in real estate from GPAR on there, the more formal things. I don't share a lot of quirky things on there either. Pinterest is great for visual boards if you wanted to create some like dream homes and stuff for clients, maybe repost them on Instagram. And then TikTok is like another millennial quirky thing that's been out. I personally don't use it, but I know that some realtors have had success making like silly videos. Silly videos is like mostly what you'll find on TikTok. But ultimately, there's a lot of platforms out there. This is merely the tip of the iceberg, but these are like, I would say, the core ones nowadays that people are mostly on. And then another thing that I haven't mentioned yet, we do a She Moves letter. So we have a moves letter, and we share that twice a week. And what we do is we weave that into all of our social media posts. So our newsletter touches probably about over 5,000 people. We either post it on Facebook, we'll share the weekly newsletter in our Instagram stories, we'll repost it to Twitter, or I'll share it on Instagram. I don't do it all at once because I only want to post it to one platform at once. This way it's not the same content everywhere, but I'll interchange everything. This way you have like a lot of your platforms starting to talk and work together. So like our Instagram posts, sometimes we'll share on Facebook, leading them back to our Instagram or vice versa. We rarely ever share Twitter to Instagram, but LinkedIn, I'll share some of our newsletters, stuff like that. I'll share some of my Instagram posts. Sometimes you kind of want to interweave everything to just connect some dots for clients. So all things considered, just my bottom line is consistency. I think I said use it or lose it quite a few times, but you know, clients, when they subscribe to you, they want to subscribe to you and they want to know what you have to share and what are you thinking and what is your take on the market, or what kind of food are you eating, or you know, they follow you because they believe in you and they understand that you're the leader and the resource in the industry. So definitely be sure that you use your platforms and come up with a game plan. In addition, you want to be cohesive. So we do have a storyboard, I think they're called. I was actually on a branding phone call with our marketing person yesterday. I forget the term that they used. This is not my area of expertise, but we definitely have a brand. We're vibrant. We have a set of colors that we use regularly. We want to be bright. We want to be whimsical. You know, these are all things that come to mind when we think of She Moves Philly. So we convey that in our social media platforms. Our newsletter is cohesive as well and is a mirror of our social media. So everything, again, talks, but everything flows more importantly. For us, it just helps people keep us in mind. You know, we're doing things a little bit differently, that's for sure, but I think it's played to our advantage. So you know, you don't have to reinvent your wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but definitely come up with a brand. And I think it will ultimately help everything flow a little bit more and give you some cohesion. And you could do all of that through Command, honestly, and through the KW resources and tools. When I first got in business 4 years ago, I did everything on my own. So I used the KW resources, the KW branding, which has improved quite a bit since. And I never had anything professionally done. It wasn't until this year when Britt and I joined forces and we were like, we really need to elevate our brand. Did we bring on a third party? And I also, just a little plug for KW too, I did end up talking to Jeff, who's our new KW marketing person. And he's actually now at our disposal for free, with the exception of rebranding. He is charging a discounted rate for, but he is somebody in our market center who you can call on. He's going to help us do a few things too. So definitely call on Jeff if you haven't already. So lastly, I wanted to leave you guys with a few additional resources, some things that have inspired me along the way and I think might inspire you too. Rachel Hollis, she's amazing. She is a force. Same thing with Marie Ferrello. They both grew pretty much like online businesses exclusively, with the exception of Rachel Hollis does like Tony Robbins style events that you can attend. Follow to Fan Society. I know Stacy Ryle. I've never used this, but I know Stacy Ryle raves about it, who's an agent at our office, or was an agent at our office. But she loved it, and I think for an inexpensive fee, you can get a lot of awesome tools and resources. Hootsuite is great if you really just want to understand the mechanics of social media a little bit more in depth. I know that I gave you guys pretty much like a higher level review of things, but Hootsuite is awesome. Also helps you with scheduling and such. And then each social platform itself actually offers a lot of great resources. So definitely lean into the help button, but also lean into your followers, or the people that you're following rather. There's a lot of figures, you know, like even following Rachel Hollis or Marie Ferrello on social media, even following Hootsuite on social media, you can learn a lot of invaluable resources or information, because Hootsuite's why, right? Your mind is about to be blown. Hootsuite's why is to educate, right? And educate about social media. So if you follow them on social media, it'll be a platform for you to learn in return. So definitely check those out. And then last, I just want to end with this quote: social media is all about is about sociology and psychology more than technology. You know, we're so addicted to social media because of how it makes us feel, right? And also the reward that we get from following people and learning things and interacting and engaging and talking and socializing and all of those fun things. So definitely keep that in mind. You know, you don't have to take yourself so seriously when you're doing everything. Have fun with it. Try out new things. You know, what you might use today might not be what you use tomorrow, and that's okay. You know, work out a plan of your own that is effective, that's efficient, and that you can sustain. I think that's key too. So if anybody has any additional questions, let's get social. I love to. Call me anytime. That's my cell phone. Email me or follow us on She Moves Philly. She Moves Philly is our brand. I am the voice behind it. However, you can follow me on Brittany Moves Philly as well. So does anybody have any questions? And if there's no questions, that's okay too.
Can you make sure to share that video from of Monica? Can you put that in the chats for us?
Yeah, let me pull that up right now.
Thank
Just
you.
Give me a minute of silence. But yeah, I'll drop that in here. And yeah, I hope everybody's doing well and staying safe, more importantly.
It was very informative. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, not a problem. This is, again, there's like a whole rabbit hole that I could go down, but hopefully that checked off some of the things that you guys wanted to learn about and gave you a little bit more insight about how we approach our social media. So give me 1 minute. And there you go. It's dropped in there. So feel free to go take a look at it. I think if I press the end button, then I will sign everybody out of the meeting, but I'm not entirely sure. So definitely take 1 more minute to copy and paste the link if you need. But otherwise, if you guys need anything, you know where to find me. I drop my info, which is Brittany at She Moves Philly, BRITTANY. But you can always reach out to me on Facebook or, again, on social media. I'm 100% around.
Thanks, Brittany.
Yeah,
Not a problem. Not a problem. Good luck, Anna. And good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
take care.